I have the giggles. Now. I need to calm down.
Welcome to the giggles.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I need to not get on like a laughing fit before we start this. But anyway, this is part 2 of what we were talking about earlier. We don't have a name.
It's funny because like a lot of podcasts you have to forward through like commercials or like just ads or whatever, and for us you just have to forward through us being an idiot.
Well,
Our first 3 minutes they are absolute F-tards, so we'll forward through that.
Like, please send these ladies help for the first like couple of minutes. Like, are they okay? Are they unwell?
No, that's the entire podcast. The whole podcast are those questions. Those are the underlying questions of the entire podcast.
Just the comments are like pure concern. Like, they don't even like comment on like the comments.
Are they unwell?
And here we go again. I mean,
welcome back, kids.
We're going off into the wilderness about going off into the wilderness. I love it.
We're going on a ride, as per usual.
Just a tiny side note, and then we'll jump back in. But I just realized that I did the whole, like, that goofy, weirdo intro for part 1, and people aren't going to know what the fuck I'm talking about. They don't know that song.
Yeah, probably not.
I was like, can't
it's unlikely. I mean, maybe they viewed your story, like, a year and a half ago, but probably not the most likely.
Can't trust thoughts.
Well, it's a real song. You know, our 2 viewers, our 2 listeners to this podcast may not be aware of that.
The 2.5 people who faithfully tune in every week. Or every month, actually. We only make one, like, once a month.
Oh, God, it's just
like,
too good.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. And, like, the half person is like, what the fuck is going on?
God, I love it. I love it to death. I love it to absolute death.
It's so fun. I have way too much fun doing this. It's like a highlight of my month or however long we do it. I love how we do it. Like, we do it like once every month, and then sometimes we'll do it like 2 weeks in a row, and then like 2 months will go by. Be like, oh, you want to do a podcast? Oh yeah. Should we do it tonight? Yeah, let's do it tonight. And then we like pick the topic like an hour before. We're like, should we talk about this? Okay. All right, cool.
Yes.
No notes.
The answer is yes.
Literally no notes. I've never done notes through the whole thing. It's fun. What? We love this.
Just wing it. Wing it is the name of the game.
I love it.
All right, it's your turn. You gotta like expand upon our last podcast because I guess this is a part 2. So
yeah, well,
that's all you, girl.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like there was just more to say because you were right in the middle of saying something really cool. So you were talking about like what it feels like to be like after someone like prophesies over you or like just like being in the prophetic. You're talking about how like all you can really do when that's like happening or like after it's happened is literally just like lean back and like just like lay back, and it feels like you were being, and we kind of had to cut it like when you were explaining that feeling. And what came to mind for me was like radically, like I think I said it, like radically held, like where you're just like completely like almost just like your whole body, mind, soul, everything is just like in a like a cocoon, like a swaddle kind of thing, you know, like where you're just like, oh my gosh, like I feel so supported. Yeah.
Okay, yes. And this is what that reminds me of is, so I love this podcast that I listen to. It's called Company of Burning Hearts. And I wouldn't recommend it to almost anyone. Because it is a very weird, bizarre, mystic Christian podcast. So unless you are a very intense lover of the mystic realm and or Jesus, you're probably not going to be a fan. But anyways, I'm into it. I love it. And one of the things Justin Paul Abraham says on that podcast a lot is the fact that this is a realm that you do not experience with your mind. It's a realm that you've experienced with your senses.
Oh,
so
wow.
That whole experience of just like laying back, opening your heart, and feeling, that is the characteristic of the love realm, of the realm of what I would call Jesus, where you're known, loved, held, and not just all of those things, but a lot of times even spoken to about the future, about your life, about all kinds of mystery. Like for me, it's like mysteries a lot. Like I love mysteries, so that's what I feel like I access there is a lot of mysteries. And it's a realm of the senses, it's not a realm of the mind. And so it is something where you don't think your way there, you feel your way there. It's like the Barbie movie, which I haven't seen yet.
Literally
Which
me
is like,
either.
close your eyes, now feel.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
really was thinking
That's the
that when you
thing.
were talking. I was like, oh my gosh, I keep having that audio, and then that song, like, what was I made for? Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. What a haunting,
It is.
beautiful song, just about feeling. Like,
Yes.
I've never seen the movie either yet. Like, I'm so bad at watching movies. I will watch like old ones and stuff, but like I am really bad at like going to the theater. I just don't make time. But
Me too.
and I want to, like, I totally want to. I just like don't do it. I don't know, but love that. I love like the differentiation between you can know things all day long, but unless you're tapping into something that's relatable, because like people are not always going to relate to knowledge, but people can always relate to emotion. Like emotion is something that we all have. We may not always have the same knowledge or experiences, but we all have the same emotions in different forms and different variations and different levels, you know what I mean? And so like when you share something from your heart, people know. Like I think people really understand when you're being genuine, and when you're like, hey, like, you know, like it was like this. And if you happen to have the words for it, or they're there with you while you're experiencing something, it's like something happens where it just like opens you up. And it's just like a different realm. It really feels like
And you use the word haunting, which is actually a word that I really resonate with. And this whole, what's the word? Maybe like the word is journey for me, or this whole experience slash journey slash like intense. I have an intense curiosity about this stuff to the point where I don't limit myself to even Christianity. Like I actually open myself up to all realms of thought because my curiosity is so wildly intense. And I actually think it's actually driven by love, because I just like I have a wild and intensity about this, and I actually don't think a lot of people even know the intensity with which I have, like, with this concept, idea slash like um uh like mystery, because it fascinates me to a degree that nothing else does. And I love that you use the word haunting, because that's a word that actually really resonates with me very deeply. And like throughout this whole learning experience slash journey slash curiosity, I've been exploring the different ideas of like, is this just my experience? Is this an experience everyone is meant to have? Is this an experience everyone wants to have? Is this an experience everyone wants to have and they just don't know it? Is this an experience that I personally just have such an intense passion slash longing for? But haunting has always been a word that has really met me. And I remember Jonathan Martin, he's a writer that I really like. He used that early on. I think when I was in high school, he would write like stuff about like this haunting love. And I resonate with that with so much that there was this love that was after you far more than you were like ever after it. And I love that he used I think I like the words like irreverent. He used somewhat irreverent words at the time because he was like kind of in the Christian realm, and he was using language and stuff that wasn't quite totally accepted, but it resonated with me on a really deep level. Like I felt haunted by this love. Like, I felt like there was a ghost of love that was like after me, like that phrase, hound of heaven, that was after me, like obsessed with me. And I had like an obsession with this, like, love slash curiosity slash mystery realm.
Mm,
And it
wow.
always went deeper, like so much deeper than the religion than I had known thus far. And even to this day, it goes so much deeper than I have known Christianity to be thus far.
Yeah.
It just runs on a deeper level than most stuff that I have seen articulated.
Hmm.
So, and that is why it's so intriguing and fascinating and beautiful and worthy of like wild, stupid obsession to me, because it does run beyond this fundamental, and it runs beyond language. It runs beyond so many things that I know,
It
and
trans
that is why it's so wild and fun and cool and just like lovely.
Ugh, I love that. Like it's transcendental. Like you just can't, like it's not something that you can contain, explain, anything. Like you can't even like control when it happens. Like that's actually
Yes.
part of the beauty. It's not like something that you can like put in a form that is like shareable unless the person wants to go there themselves. It kind of is going back to like what
Yeah.
you said in part one. The person has to go on an individual journey to meet this part of themselves, and
Yeah.
the part of God, the part of spirit, you know, whatever you want to call God. Um,
Right.
like it's really stunning when people, and to answer your kind of metaphorical questions that you were kind of throwing out earlier about, you know, can everybody have this? Does everybody want this? Does everybody not even know that they want this? I think that, I mean, this is my thoughts. I've not everybody, but I think everybody can. I know that not everybody will, because you have to go there, and going there is really fucking scary and like shaky and whatever for your first time. You know, it's like, gosh, like this feels really weird, uncomfortable, and like you have to meet yourself at a level of discomfort that you've never met yourself before. But I think everybody would benefit. Actually, I don't think, I know everybody would benefit. That's something, I don't know very many things for certain in life. Like I wouldn't say I am certain about this unless I knew for a fact, you know. And like it's pretty rare that I'm ever like, this I know, you know. But like I know that if people were willing to go there in like themselves and like meet themselves in a way that they've never met themselves before, and like meet spirit, meet God, meet what created them, how could that not make you better? How could it not make you better to be understood and fully loved? I don't know anyone who wouldn't benefit from that. Being loved is like, it's the pinnacle of existing. Like even for animals, even for dogs, you know what I mean? It's like being loved is like, there's nothing better. Like a dog, like I don't know, I just think of like simpler beings, you know what I mean? And like dogs aren't like that simple. They're like, you know, they've got emotion and they've got really cool nuances about them, but it's like they even know that love is the pinnacle of life and like being loved, you know? And I feel like, I don't know, how are you fully loved if you're not fully known? So being
Yeah.
fully known, that creates opportunity to be fully loved.
Yeah, and I do think that being fully known, it's a different experience for a lot of different people. People are so wildly different. They have so much intricacies to them. They have so many, there's so much that makes us unique, each one of us. And so a lot of the times when I explore this, I'm exploring whether something I'm experiencing is unique to me and people like me, and or um, whether I'm experiencing something that's a depth to who I am and other people will experience a depth to like who they are, right?
Yeah.
And I have noticed that people are very different, and what feels like true, authentic, deep, beautiful, wild, inarticulable love to me is a different way than someone else would articulate something that feels absolutely beautiful to them.
Totally.
And so that's been an interesting journey, like learning other people and what makes them feel the thing that I'm feeling, but in a different way. That's interesting to me. And for me, and I think you probably resonate with this too, and anyone who probably even listens to us, because there's probably not very many people who are listening to this podcast, obviously they either relate to you or I and or both to like a certain level. Like for me, I feel a resonance with like the ocean, and like to me the ocean has so much intricacy, depth, mystery, and intrigue to it, and in so many different ways. So like the ocean has like, there's a surface level to the ocean that has so much beauty to it. Like if you're a scuba diver, like there's not much that beautiful beyond 30-ish feet. Like you can find pretty much every like conventionally beautiful thing around 30-ish feet, right?
Yeah.
You go deeper than 30 feet, and I mean, it's pretty endless. Like the ocean's pretty endless on how deep you can go. And so the deeper you go, you don't always get the beautiful, bright coral or all this different wildlife or all this stuff. What you get is you get stuff that nobody else sees. And for me, that's pretty wild and like just mysteriously interesting in a way that embodies love to me. That is a lot of, like, that is how I translate love in a lot of ways, for like lack of better language. Like I love seeing the stuff that a lot of people are not willing to go to the depth of,
Yeah.
to witness.
Wow.
And like it may not be quite as colorful, and may not be quite as palatable to most people. To the general public, you show a lot of the stuff in the deep, not a lot of people are going to think it's that pretty. But
right.
like to me, it's like, but I got to go down there. I got to see the stuff that nobody else sees. And maybe it's ugly to you, but man, I got to witness something that was like just absolutely beyond. And for me, that is like the resonance of like, if I was to like sort of like try to put my like core into language as much as I possibly can, it would be something like that. It would be the fact that like I got to touch things that most people were like unwilling to touch, or like there was just this love slash mystery, because like who do you show the weirdest part of yourself to? The person you love the most, right?
Right.
Like, and most people are not gonna, like, the general public is not gonna think the weirdest part of yourself is like funny or lovable or cool or whatever. But like you meet your soulmate, you meet your twin flame, you meet your whatever you want to call it, they're gonna think the weirdest part of yourself is like the stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna think that's the stuff. Like the stuff that nobody else gets, like that's the stuff to them. And you ever love anyone that much, you'll get that. Or you ever love that much, you'll get that. Like the weirdest part of you is the stuff. Or the weirdest part of them is the stuff, you know? And for me, that's how I translate the mystical realm. That's how I translate God. That's how I translate Jesus, love. That's how I translate all of those things. Is like, I want the stuff that nobody else really gets to see. And I think in some ways the people that want that get that, you know? They get the stuff that nobody else gets to see because They have a craving, fascination, and like love for it.
Mm. Yeah, it's almost like you want the stuff that no one else wants. And there's a really beautiful aspect to that. And I feel the same way where it's like, show me. Like that's part of the reason why like therapy intrigues me so much in psychology. It's like I want to see it. Like show me. Like I really feel like I've never been like someone could show me like the worst, the worst, and there is such a beauty about that. No matter how bad their worst is, it's like the fact that you went down there is beautiful. And that's why I really stand by that. I know for a fact that if everyone would just be willing to meet themselves and go on their own journey, and that's the thing, I think you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it when you said everybody's going to find something different when they go down there. It's never going to look the exact same. It's never going to be like, oh, I found this. Oh, like sometimes you're going to say, oh, I found this too. I saw this too. But you're never going to have an identical experience because we're all unique, completely unique individual creatures that are going to see things completely differently. And like, it's like looking at the moon from opposite sides of whatever, the city. It's like, you still see it, but you see it in a different way. You see a different landscape behind it or under it or whatever you want to call it. And there's such beauty to that. And I love that. And I feel like those are my people. Like,
Yeah.
people like you, those are my people. I'm like, I want to know that. I want to see that stuff. I want to find beauty in it together. Like that's real community. And those are the people who have met themselves. I want met themselves and who have gone to the depths and they're like, I found this down there. It was actually really scary. Let me tell you about it. This was really scary. And I actually still have this with me. Do you want to see it? I'd asked it to anyone before. I'm a little afraid. Whatever. I'm afraid of it. I'd be like, okay, let's see it. Let's look at it. We can figure this out. You know what I mean? It's like there's such beauty in that. And I feel like you can only have that genuine mindset toward it though, like really genuinely feel those things when you're not afraid anymore. And to be not afraid of those things, you have to go there by yourself.
Oh my gosh, yes. I love that you came back to you have to go there by yourself, because you do have to go there by yourself. And you have to be brave enough to go there by yourself. And I think a lot of people are not willing to go places by themselves. They think that like the thing that's most widely appreciated, most widely loved, most widely accepted is the piece of them that they need to I kind of want to use the word extort. Is the piece of them they need to extort, make bigger, amplify, and become the biggest piece of who they are and display the most. When in reality, if you actually want to feel known, loved, and like you have a real clan, you actually should probably start communicating the parts of yourself that you feel the most isolated by. And that is where you're going to find your real clan. And that's actually the gift. Like the gift is not a wide group of people loving you. The gift is actually a people loving you because they also get it. Like they also feel it. They also know it. They also are experiencing in a lot of ways the same things you're experiencing.
Wow.
And that is community. That's what makes you actually feel held. Not being widely known, not being widely accepted and loved. That doesn't give you a sense of like community that you're actually longing for in the depth of your like soul, Yeah. And it's interesting because I think that love will propel you into places that are sort of niche. Like what you really, 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 really love will propel you into places that are incredibly niche. Like, I don't actually think 100% of the population is like you, regardless of who you are. You know,
Yeah.
pretty rare. But you find the minority percent of people who feel the things that you're capable of feeling. Like, you're gonna find a community that actually fills that place that feels so empty. You know, as opposed to everybody thinks you're just the hot shit, you know?
Right.
And I think that I don't know, I've listened to different, like, I love podcasts. I'm always listening to podcasts and stuff, but the podcasts that really just like really do something are the ones that are just like not afraid to just like rabbit trail, nosedive, just go all in something that they have absolutely no like idea or assurance that anyone will like relate to in any way. You know? And I'm just like, and those are the ones when I find them, I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, and those are the ones that I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah, it's like a fearlessness of being misunderstood. You're not afraid anymore. It's like, you're like, yeah, fuck it. Like, whoever is still standing there at the end of your show, at the end of, whatever. Like, I like to think of, even life like that. Whoever's still standing there after you fucking unhinge yourself. You know what I mean? Like, whoever's still there,
Yeah.
those are your people. And that's actually part of the reason why I like to be such a fucking weirdo on my Instagram. I love to be unhinged and like weird and like whatever, because I like to see who's there. I like to see
right.
I like to see who likes to watch me, in terms of like not watch me as like a spectacle, but just like keep in touch and like observe and like connect. I think connect would be a better word even than watch, but just like people who faithfully watch my stories, who have like, the top 5 people that are always like, oh, like, or like hearting things, or like engaging with me, even in like unhinged weirdo-ness, because I'm like, I feel safe with you.
Yes.
I love people who like want to like go there with me, or even just at least like be there. You don't even have to go there with me, but like the fact that you're still standing there after my weirdo, my purposely unhinged weirdo little tirade of like, whether it's like crazy weirdo memes or like ugly faces that I post on my story, or me doing something weird or whatever. It's like, I deeply, deeply love and treasure those people. And I've been like losing people lately, as you know, like you've been there in terms of like this season of my life. It's been tough, but it's been really good, because it's like the people who want to be in your life will be there. They will be like, no, you're not losing me. No, sorry. Like, I will do whatever it takes to be there in your life because I love you. Because that's how I, like, unless you push me away for however long, then yeah, you can lose me, like, I guess. But it's like, it's hard to do that. You know what I mean? Like, if you show like an ounce of like care or whatever, it's like, okay, I'm there. You're my person. I chose whatever. But it's like, I don't know. You got to find the people with the same level of oxygen in their tank. You know what I mean? It's, you got to find the people who are capable of going to those depths in the ocean with you. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody has the same size tank as you. And sometimes you're going to have this massive fucking tank, and sometimes it's going to be really heavy and uncomfortable, and it's going to be like actually really tough. Like, it makes life a little bit harder in some ways, because it makes you feel like almost kind of like heavy and weird sometimes, but then it's like you get to go to these depths that like no one else gets to go to.
Yeah.
And see things that no one else gets to see, and you're like, actually, this is okay. Like the weight that I carry, or whatever, the weight of being misunderstood, it's worth the depth. And it reminds me of something that Mike Maiden says at CFT, and I absolutely love it. He's full of Maidenisms, where it's like these little like sayings that he says, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to write that down. It's so good. It's the first time I've done that in a long time. Like, I think ever with church. Like, I just like keep things in my notes. He said,
that's so cute. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and he says this one thing that's like, you have to reveal it in order to heal it. Like, you have to, like, bring back up to the surface, you know what I mean? Like, whatever you find down there when you're exploring yourself, your little part of the ocean or whatever, like, you have to reveal it in order to heal it. And it's like what you said earlier, you know, like, people who are willing to do that, or who like who are willing to be vulnerable and unhinged and show what they find and show who they are, and like the authenticity, the deep authenticity of that, those are the people who get healing, because they're not afraid anymore, because they just put it out there. And you gotta say it. You gotta just like freaking say what's on your mind, or else it's, you know, it's not gonna get healed.
Yeah. And I think there's an intimacy in what I like to call like unleashing the beast.
Yes.
There's an intimacy to that
True.
I've come to deeply value, where
That's so
you're not, and in the Christian realm, it looks a lot like not adhering to certain boxes, norms, and what's expected of you, and what's expected of like a good Christian. I think that's what it looks like in the Christian realm. But what is the part of you that is actually true, authentic, and real that you kind of know is not widely accepted? Put that out there. What does that yield? You know?
yeah, what returns does that yield? Like, what people,
Yeah,
how many people did
'cause-
you just out?
right. And there, I think, is where you find a lot of intimacy. You know, you find people that are like, I get that, you know? And like I think a lot of things, like for example, I think a lot of things even that you post on your stories, you know, are probably not things that a lot of people would widely accept, you know? But what happens is you filter out the people who are just not, they're just not with you on that level. And like there's actually a beauty to that, you know? And even if the group is so tiny, tiny, tiny small that's left, like that's at least it's real. You know? How many people can actually say like the people that they hang with, that they consider tight, that they love, they're real. They're real. Like they're so real, and you've got their back and they've got your back. How many people can actually say that? Not
Right.
very many people can actually say that, you know?
No.
And but when you have it, it's invaluable. It's invaluable. Like for example, like you and like I like I know you have my back if I said the most profane, ridiculous, stupid, dumb, whatever thing I said, I'd know you have my back. Because it goes beyond, oh, well, I like that or I don't like that. You know, there's just a depth that goes beyond that. And it's
Totally.
vice versa. Like, I've got your back. Like,
Yeah.
and that is the thing I think what people really long for is like not someone who agrees with them or thinks like them, like, you know what I mean? It's someone who just like they just love. And like love emanates from them, and love emanates like there's just like there's just this deeper love that goes beyond all of the dumbness of life, you
Yeah.
know? And um and I think that it's almost like a it's almost like a beautiful thing to just like what I call like unleash the beast or whatever. It's
Yeah.
almost like a beautiful thing to put that out there and see, all right, who's the realist out here, you know? Who can I actually feel like a deep resonance with? And they'll emerge. They do emerge, you know, when you
Those
are
are,
authentic.
and those are the ones you keep. Those are the ones that you go after. Those are the ones that you almost don't even give like a choice to leave you, because it's like literally it's like, no, like, I love you too much. You can literally run away from me, and you like
Yes.
you specifically, like, if you were to ever like run away from me for whatever reason, I would probably bother you all the time. I'd be like, okay, well, I love you, so like you could block me. Like,
Yeah.
still love you. I'm gonna see if this text goes through today. Like, you choose people. You really, really choose.
Right.
And it's this, like, I think that the best way to put it too is like, and this is something I've really come to appreciate during the season of life of losing people, actually. You lose people who don't make you feel safe. And you keep people who make you feel unquestionably safe. Unquestionably.
Right.
Like, literally, I don't even have to wonder in like a shadow of that. I literally called you about something bad that I did the other day. Remember, like 2 weeks ago or something? I was like, okay, so I did something, like, it wasn't terrible, but it was something kind of bad. And I was like, okay, I did something bad. I
Yeah.
need to tell somebody. I need to tell you. And I, like, literally wasn't like a hesitation of like, should I call someone and tell? It's like, I'm calling Aubrey. I'm calling Aubrey right now.
Yeah.
I need to tell her. And like, I know that it's just like safe. And like, there's also room for honesty. I think like when you have radical safety with someone, you can have radical honesty because you know that that person's not going anywhere. Like, literally, like, I could tell you the worst thing, like something genuinely bad that I did. What I did wasn't even really that bad in terms of like comparison to things, but like still, like, if it was way worse, I'd still tell you because I don't worry. Like, I know you're not going anywhere. And
Yeah.
you know, it's just like you choose people.
And I think that there's something to that, like, for me, like, a phrase that really means a lot to me is like, someone's got my back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like, for like people that I have their back, and the people like I know who has my back, like when you call me and tell me like, oh, I did something bad, to me it doesn't even register the fact that you did something bad.
Yeah.
The only thing that registers to me is like, how can I make you as safe as possible? How can I minimize damage in whatever way? Like the whole you did something bad doesn't even like occur in my consciousness. Like it literally skips over my brain, and all I can see is the fact that like, oh, my friend might be in trouble. How in any way can I possibly minimize that? You know, like the whole you did something bad, like it escapes me. You know what I mean? And like and Beth's the same way too. Like sometimes Beth will remind me of things that she's done, and I'm like, girl, I literally don't even remember that. Like,
yeah.
you're like, you feel guilty about that, or you don't feel good about that, or whatever. I continually forget that until you continually bring it up to me, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, like, that whole thing of like, I've got your back is like, that's what friendship is about to me. That's how I view my friends. That's how, like, that's how I know I'm loved, when someone's got my back. It is like this, like, cause like what's the thing? It's like, love keeps no record of wrongs.
Yes, I was
right?
about to say, it's like,
It's not that like I forgive you. It's that like I don't see it. Like, to me, your wrongs do not exist, because to me, like it's just love. It's just pure love. Like, so your wrongs just don't exist to me. Sorry. Like, you can convince me as much as you can. You can talk about it as much as you want. They will never exist to me.
I love
like,
that so much. There's no space for shame. There's no space, because shame is based in fear. Fear and love cannot coincide. And when you're in a space of pure love, you cannot physically feel shame. Like, that person doesn't hold those things, because literally, what a perfect picture of divine love, of God. Like, what I think of, like, I love that you thought of that verse. I thought of the verse about sea of forgetfulness. He casts into the sea of forgetfulness. It literally sunk to the bottom of the infinite ocean. I have no idea what you're talking about. And then if I remember, I'm like, oh yeah. And then I just let it go again. I'm like, okay, cool. Like,
yeah.
It's radical love, and it's very, very, very rare, as I'm coming to find out, like, in terms of adults, adult friendships. It's so common when you're a kid, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then people grow up, they grow out of that radical love, and it's really sad. But something that actually came to mind while you were talking was just about, like, we were talking about, like, being real, and like what it like means, and like all, you know, just like real people, you know, who like aren't afraid. And it was a quote from the Velveteen Rabbit. Do you remember that book?
A little bit.
Oh my gosh, this quote makes me cry. I actually looked it up. And I was thinking, I think I'll read it because it's not like crazy long. It's just like probably 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, read
Read it.
it.
It's just like the most beautiful, pure, innocent way of explaining like how to find those people that are real. I don't know. Okay. So, and I don't know if this is going to flow or not now. It was like kind of earlier, but I was like, I'll just read it. It says, "What is real?" asked the rabbit one day when they were lying side by side near the nursery fender before Nana came to tidy the room. "Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle?" "Real isn't how you are made," said the skin horse. "It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real." "Does it hurt?" asked the rabbit. "Sometimes," said the skin horse, for he was always truthful. "When you are real, you don't mind being hurt." "Does it happen all at once, like being wound up?" he asked, "or bit by bit?" "It doesn't happen all at once," said the skin horse. "You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen often to people who break easily or have sharp edges or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all because once you are real, oh my goodness. These things don't matter at all because once you are real, oh my goodness, it's not bloating in the bottom. I think it said like you don't mind being hurt. It's like trying to load it. But anyway, it was just like the most beautiful quote that like hit me as a kid. Like this literally hit me as like an 8-year-old child, I remember. And I was reminded about it. I was nannying not too long ago, just like for some extra money, and I was like reading this book, and I just like started like crying. Like as a book, I was like, this is so stunning. Like what a beautiful way to put it for kids. Like it's like in toy form. Like when you're real, like most of your, your hair has been loved off, you're very shabby, whatever. I just love the way they put it. I just thought it was really stunning.
Wow, I really love that.
Oh,
Keep going if you're.
oh, sorry. So the last part was actually important, so it just loaded. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off, your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to the people who don't understand.
Oh, God.
I know.
Oh my God. You're kidding me right now?
I know. I can't believe it didn't load that last part. I was like, how anticlimactic. Load!
No, actually, it's more climactic, like having this space. Okay, what that is like surfacing for me. Okay, because when we were talking about like what should we talk about with our podcast, if you were to like do it today, we were like maybe dating, this or that or whatever, and I'm like, God, I don't know if I can get behind the dating thing right now because I just am like, I know what love feels like right now, and dating just feels so shallow in comparison that I'm like, I don't actually even want to care. Like, I don't want to spend any time caring about the people who I know don't actually even see me or see you. Like, why would I want to spend any time on that right now? And I'm like, dang, like, I feel like I might be really jaded if we talked about dating right now. Like, what I actually feel like spending time on is, like, the people that I know, like, have cultivated depth in themselves and, like, people that I value and trust and have shown me a love, even in, like, friendship that, like, sort of astonishes me in ways. Like, platonic love can really astonish you in ways. Because platonic love, in a lot of ways, doesn't always expect a lot from you. Maybe that other love does. And the fact that, like, platonic love, like, for me, a lot of my platonic love has been there for 10 plus years, sometimes much longer even, you know? And that's the love I want to celebrate right now.
Wow.
Like, that's just the season that I'm in. I'm just like, I want to celebrate the love that's fucking been there through thick and thin, who's loved me through every weird, awkward, stupid, dumb, awesome, even like beautiful seasons. Sometimes it's the hardest to love in beautiful seasons. Like sometimes it's the hardest to celebrate people when they're doing better than you or seemingly so. Like that's the love I want to celebrate right now. So like that's why I was like, oh gosh, I think I might struggle with dating because I'm just like, damn, like the once you are real thing, like in your poem, like once you are real, like once someone really sees you, like they've been around for a while, you know, and they still choose to stick around. Like that's the love I want to celebrate. That's the love I want to talk about. Like that's the love that I'm like, that's the good stuff. Like that is the only thing worth celebrating. Like what, you know, and
Yeah.
and not, you know, not because like, you know, there's a time and a season for everything, dating and new love and new all that stuff. There's a time and a place, but like, good God, like for fuck's sake, I've had people in my life who've been there for me, who have loved me through seasons of me not even really contacting them very much at all, like, or whatever it is you feel like your big weakness is. Like for me, like it's like I don't feel like I'm not that really good at staying in contact like on a consistent basis. And for me, like I have people in my life that I know it doesn't matter. Like I know it just doesn't matter how often I call them. Like I know we're there for each other. And like that's the love I feel like celebrating right now. Like I just like sometimes you have to hand it to the people who've just been there, you know? Sometimes those are the people who deserve the applause, you know? And the infatuation and the romanticism and all the stuff you sometimes give to people you barely know.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. How beautifully said. That almost made me tear up, honestly. Just like the resonance that I felt from that, because it's so powerful to be loved with absolutely nothing expected in return. Like that's just like, I think that's why, and you know, there's that quote, I think I posted it on Instagram, like on an actual post in like a series that I had made of like words that mattered to me like a couple months ago. And it was like, my platonic friendships, my friendships with my women have set the bar so ungodly high for dating, for romantic relationships, because the level of care and love and genuine just like affection that I feel, and like safety and like just all the things that you could dream of in a romantic relationship, I have already gotten. Like I've already gotten like those needs fulfilled in my friendships. And it's like, why would I settle for a romantic relationship where that is not present when I know what it's like? Like once you taste it, it's kind of like the prophetic. It's like the spiritual realm. Once you taste it, you're like, where was this? Oh my God. Like what, how was I okay before this? Like, how was I like surviving before before I tasted this, you know? And it almost minimizes anything that's not. And you know, like everybody's different, obviously everybody has things to offer you, but it's the level of depth and safety that's the most special thing that like you could ever fathom. And it's not something that you can like, you can't manufacture it like automatically or like instantly or whatever. And that's why I'm always skeptical of people who like claim to have all these feelings for me, like right off the bat and things like that. I'm like, prove it. Prove it with your eyes, whatever. I'm like, no, because you don't know me. You know what I mean? Right. And like, you know, it is a little bit of that fear too of like, well, if you really knew me, you might not feel this way. So slow your damn roll and invest in me first and see if you still feel that way in 3 months, 6 months, 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, see if you can handle me. You don't even know me. You've never, you know, it's like you haven't you haven't gone diving with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? When I take you diving with me a couple times, then you can tell me how you feel about me. Because my friends, my people have been diving with me.
Yeah.
It's like,
And,
yeah.
and for me, it's like I feel like the highest form of love is actually proven to be friendship. Like, because friendship is the kind of love that chooses you beyond when you're chosen back, you know?
Yes.
And like, friendship is like, oh no, I love you not for what you can give to me, but I love you because of who you are.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's friendship. And you don't, like, you just do not encounter that in, like, romantic relationships very often. A
Yeah.
lot of times it's like, oh, well, like, I'm gonna give you a little bit, see how much you give me back, and, like,
Transactional.
yeah, and it's like, well, okay, oh, you took a little bit of time to respond, so I'm gonna take a little bit of time to respond too. And it's like, it's just this, to me, it's become a really sick form of love.
Yeah.
And it's kind of gross and transactional, and it's actually like amplified in contrast how beautiful friendship is, which
Mm.
is like, oh no, I'm gonna love, 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 love you, and that's just because I love you. Like, that's how my friendships are. Like, the people that I care, value, and trust, that's who they are. They are people who love, 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 like you, like people who love, 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 love. And why? Because, like, I just believe that you just care and love, and that's just who you are. It has nothing to do with how much I transactionally give to you,
Right. No. Yeah.
or how it just has nothing to do with that. And like, that is something I've come to truly value. And honestly, to be complete, like, we're getting kind of low on time, and I might be getting into a rabbit hole, but like, honestly, I feel like actually that's the kind of love I've given to my romantic partners, and that's a love that I've never felt reciprocated from my romantic partners.
I feel that. Yeah.
Is like, oh no, I've loved you. I loved you regardless of you treating me like absolute shit. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
I've loved you regardless of people thinking you are absolute shit. And holy hell, I've actually never experienced that reciprocated. Is that a superpower women are only capable of? Those are things that I do question.
Yeah.
But I'm like, at this point, I'm like, no, you know what? I'm not gonna give this superhero love to people who are just not truly, like, experiencing love the way that I know love to be.
Yeah. Like there's
You
no
know?
like investment. Like it's like the most hurtful, devastating thing in the world to like give someone all of your like just even like your emotional energy and your time and like your investment. Like when you invest in someone and you're just like I don't know, going back to what you were saying about like, why? I know that you would never leave me. I know that like, like speaking about specifically our friendship, like I know that like I am just like safe with you. I know that like it's not even a question. I don't question it. Why? I don't know. I think it goes back to that, yeah, like the Holy Spirit, prophetic. It's like when you reach like in like a spiritual way, even with friends, spiritual realm, beliefs, whatever, same thing. Like that you can't put it into words. It's something so beautiful and cultivated and old. It's something so
It's
old.
old, ancient. It's
It's
old and ancient, isn't it?
that form of love is ancient and it's not
It's
something
ancient.
very often. And so therefore, it's not something you can really put into words. You can put it into a fuck ton of words and maybe kind of grasp it, but it's not something that can be condensed down, or else you just absolutely minimize it. And honestly, I've never felt it back either. And that's something that I actually like, and I know we're like running on time. I will be quick. But I actually started like breaking down crying in my kitchen like this last week, and I'm not like a super emotional person, but I've been on like an emotional journey lately, and I've been trying to make myself like let myself feel things. And I was listening to a voice memo from a friend, and she was just like talking about a situationship that she was in. She's like, I just invested so much, and like he didn't give it back. He didn't care, whatever. And I just like broke down, like sobbing in my kitchen. Literally like couldn't even like stand up. And it just hit me because I was like, and all I could say out loud was, I just want what I give. I just want what I give. Like I literally, and I'm not saying I'm some kind of whatever, like I don't do it perfectly, but like I do really, really like love people. And, like my ex even, it's like, yeah, like I loved him even when he like left. You know what I mean? It's like, I still loved you. I gave you a shot, whatever. You treated me like ass. Like you were an abusive asshole. And I still loved you. And I still spoke well of you until the day I decided I was gone. And then after that, you're done. Like, you're done. But it's so disappointing. It's like sad when you never experience, like, gosh, like it just hits your soul, like the realization of never having it returned, other than, friendships. Like I feel that in my friendships, but I've never known it romantically either. And I don't know, maybe it is this depth of love that women are capable of because of our maternal whatever, but it's hard to say. I have no idea. I think we'll find it. I think it's out there, but I don't know where the hell it is. It's in the ocean. Somebody's got to go.
It's in the ocean.
It's in the ocean. I don't know where it is.
All right, well, we're at 56 minutes, 23 seconds.
Yeah.
You've got one last thing to say to your 17-year-old self.
Ooh.
Maybe your 17-year-old daughter or your 17-year-old sister or someone that you really love.
Oh gosh. Okay. I want to hear
17. You got like barely any time left. What are you going to tell them from all of this? They just listened to all of our shenanigans. What are you going to tell them now?
Shit. Okay. Well, don't settle for someone with a smaller scuba tank.
I don't know,
something simple. I don't know, just don't settle. Find your people. Be a fucking weirdo. This is your permission to unhinge. Full permission to unhinge. Whoever you are, even if you're my daughter, that's fine. You can do that. I will love you anyway. I'll love you anyway.
I love it.
What would you say?
Okay, I'm gonna choose 17-year-old me. 17-year-old me. We're at dinner together. We're at coffee together. We're having like a heart to heart. You just listened to my completely unhinged podcast for the last 2 hours. I apologize. Here we are. We're 27, and we're 10 years older than you. And here's what I have to say. Let me gather. Here's what I have to say to my 17-year-old self. I want to tell you that I love you. I think that you are a truly incredible human being. And even at 17, you cultivated things in yourself that I don't think that a lot of people have, even at your age, cultivated. So well done. I congratulate you. Don't feel like you have to figure it all out. Don't feel like you have to be jaded, even at the point that I'm even jaded. If you feel more hope than I feel at this point in my life, I encourage you to go for it. And what do I want to tell you? Sometimes I feel like maybe you have something to tell me. Sometimes I feel like maybe you got a little more hope than I do that I should maybe listen to. 17-year-old Aubrey, is she in college? 17, are you in high school? You're in high school at 17, right?
Yeah, just about to finish high school.
Oh, okay. So I've got 1 minute left. Less than a minute. You're just about to finish high school. What am I telling you? I'm telling you, fuck yeah. You fucking did it. Like, you fucking did it. I'm so proud of you. I've got no advice. You fucking did it. You finished high school. High school's a bitch. Middle school was even worse of a bitch. Like, fuck yes. Like, permission slip. Permission slip, you write on the permission slip. That's all I'm handing. Okay, here's what I got. Here's a permission slip. I'm signing it. You write whatever you want. That's all
Hell
I got.
yeah.
I've got no advice. Just a permission slip. That's all I got for you.
Boom.
And we got 15 seconds left.
The end.
And that's the end of that one.
I love it. Permission to say fuck. Permission to be who you are. Permission.
Permission.
The end. Woo!